ready for the official release of Minecraft!
Hey.
We're gonna talk about the past.
I want you guys to react to whatever is on the screen. Just give us some context as to what we're seeing, and then you can just
See what happens.
Exciting.
Oh wow. Grass.
Yeah.
Definitely Minecraft.
Yes, it definitely looks. But it's funny when you see these early clips of Minecraft. It both looks the same, but you can also see how different it is.
To be honest, when I played it, those first weeks, I didn't really understand the magnitude of what I was seeing, because it was such a simple game and it was very indie. Like it was like Marcus did it very quickly, and like the community back then was mostly other game developers.
Yeah.
It's quite a cute forum thread. I think where it still exists now, where kind of Notch put up the first version.
Yeah.
And you can see about 4 or 5 comments down, someone's like very proud. They're like, "Look, I've made a bridge," and it's just
so cool.
the most simple little object.
yeah.
But everyone's like, "Whoa, you can make a bridge in this game!" Like,
When I met Notch in 2009, I just tried out Minecraft for like a couple of minutes, and I was like, "What is this like super low pixel density game?" And it took me a while to understand the brilliance of Minecraft.
I've started playing the game in 2010 and pretty quickly discovered, I think, that it's a game that wants to be modded, and it wasn't easy.
And a lot of our employees in the first couple of years were modders too.
Yeah.
When I was interviewed to start at Mojang, the game had sold around 300,000 copies or something. The date I actually started working, it was at 700,000 copies, and that was in December 2010.
Yeah.
And just 2 months later, we celebrated like the first million sold. Oh, hello.
like, what is this video? It's bizarre.
I love that this was the first ever YouTube video.
I think Marcus was on vacation. And we just wanted to make something fun while he was out. Kaplan was filming that sequence with the snowball, and I was supposed to throw the snowball, and I kept missing.
I like how there's just some random cups and like glass in the corner, like no one bothered to look around.
No one picked them
So
up out of the
strange.
corner. Well, because in the early days, I mean, the first office was just a converted apartment. So it's just like, it had previously been a house, like someone lived there.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then it became an office. And really, they just brought in some desks.
Like the development of the game was very much, you had an idea and then you just made it. It was not so much planning.
It was a lot simpler, but a little bit more, like I said, a little more yeehaw kind of cowboy times.
The End the Dragon.
Yeah. Finally, there's an end to the game.
Yeah. People were super excited about the dragon and having a dragon. There's also been rumors about other dragons, but I haven't seen any.
The red dragon?
The red dragon, yeah.
Was this the update before you took over, or the update you took over?
Yes, so this was developed in summer 2011 and early fall. It was the update in which we went back, in a sense, to where it all started, because one of the inspirations for, or actually 2 of the inspirations for Minecraft were Dwarf Fortress and Dungeon Master. And both of those 2 games are fantasy traditional role-playing fantasy games. Well, the thing that comes to mind for me was actually the potion brewing system. I fiddled with that a lot, and I couldn't really get it the way I wanted it. I wanted it to be more experimental, like you were mixing and matching things and see like what potion will I get now. But in the end, it was just too complicated, so that's why we ended up with a potion system, which is more or less the same today. I know people would still say it's fairly complicated, but it was way less complicated than what I was trying to do.
And it was introduced with the first official release of the game, right? In Las Vegas.
Truly been amazing to watch the process of everything being built and getting set up. And
Good old Minecon. The first ever Minecon.
My first question was like, why is it in Las Vegas, which notoriously is not like the place you take a bunch of like people, especially a lot of kids were coming in, and it was because that's where everyone on the team wanted to go, I think.
I believe this is probably most kids ever been at a casino in Vegas.
We were working with an event company who typically had like medical conventions, so they were like, don't worry, like once you sell the tickets, not everyone will come. No, it was like every seat was taken, every person who wanted to come. For me, I got to see like how much people loved Minecraft all in one place, where it was like an overwhelming amount of like from the tiniest like little kid with a sword and a helmet to adults who I had met online.
After we did the opening ceremony, and then people were meant to move to the first session of the day, everyone, because it's a lot of young people, they're running, they're like trampling each other on the escalators, and this company, they've never ever seen anything like it, and they didn't even know how to respond.
It really was like a very special thing, and it was this launch of the game, going from beta to 1.0.
It was fun that we had this whole plan, that we have this switch on stage, and Notch was just gonna flip this switch, and literally behind the stage, they were going live with it.
Yeah.
So, you know, it wasn't high tech at all.
No.
It was more like, all right, listen for the cheer and click the button, and then we're live.
So Tobias was not on stage, one of the backend developers. There is, yeah. Clicking the button to go 1.0. Because I think we couldn't schedule stuff, so he had to do it live.
I was watching it online, and basically from the point that Marcus pulled the lever on stage, I was basically trying to get the update. Refreshing the download every second.
There were a few hiccups, but he eventually got it working.
What hiccups?
Well, it didn't work.
we call when something doesn't work a hiccup, and then we figure it out.
We did the adventure update in 2011, and that was what we call a 1.0 release of the game. But obviously, we knew that we would continue updating Minecraft because there was so much left to do. And we still do, often go back and look at things that we did in the past and see how can we improve them. And for the 1.9 release, which ended up being called the Combat Update.
Your favorite thing to talk about, combat.
Yeah. Nathan, also known as Dinnerbone, he wanted to make the dragon fight both more interesting and actually a little bit harder.
The combat update was controversial. A lot of people had opinions about the combat and the charge up of the swinging of the sword and stuff like that.
I would say some of our players would argue if it's really an improvement.
Some people to this day are still playing 1.8 because they feel like that has the better combat. I was just reading a thread earlier today about the merits of one way or the other. And there's a lot of things that have been added since then, and it's a bummer to not get the old features, but I think it really speaks to how players want to customize their world and their settings and everything.
We also wanted to expand the end so you would get an additional reward for fighting the dragon. And we added the outer islands. The inspiration for the chorus plants was actually, again, Nathan, he was talking about bananas.
Perfect.
Yeah.
They
He's-
look exactly the same.
They look exactly the same. No, but he said that bananas, they are not, well, I'm not an expert in this field, but
Okay.
bananas, they are not trees, they are plants. So they only give fruit once, and then you have to replant them.
Okay.
And I thought that was very interesting. So that's why the course plants, they give the seeds at the top, but you have to replant the whole thing in order to get new seeds.
The trading and temples in 1.3.
Just wanted to add something extra for players to find if they were like rewarding them for their exploration, but also both of them have traps. It might have been a little bit, we're growing up with Indiana Jones, Temple of Doom.
Yeah, I mean, I liked when you started adding a little more to find, because for my play type as like adventurers, I just want to see stuff and like go and
Yeah.
pillage it and then take everything good and run away.
I play as an explorer. I just go weird places and then I build a base and then I get lost and I build a new base.
Yeah.
I basically go weird. I'm not
loyal.
Not loyal.
But I still think like one of the things that still struck me is like when running around in Minecraft, like seeing the landscapes in front of you, and that was always like mesmerizing in itself.
Trading was a big thing because trading made villagers like so much more interesting. Like, it gave them a reason for you to interact with them, and it gave you a reason to keep them around.
The Pretty Scary update. It's a good name. I didn't come up with that, but it's a good name.
It's named that way because we added both scary things, but also flower pots and such. So it was a bit of a mix.
The Wither was fun because it was kind of this like optional super boss.
Destroyer of worlds.
Oh yeah, and I remember the trouble I got in on our server when I summoned it and nobody else was ready for it. So we lost half of our village and I needed to make amends later.
I wanted to have some kind of challenge to get the key ingredient to start constructing the beacon. So we invented this a creature that you would spawn yourself by gathering skeleton heads from the Wither skeleton, which was a new type of skeleton in the Nether. I'll admit that these days, if I'm going to spawn the Wither, because I want to spawn it because I want to build a beacon, I use the various different tricks in order to minimize
The damage.
the damage.
So you're like, it's
fine.
fine that this isn't the game designer's way,
exactly.
aka me.
Exactly.
I'll use the community's version of tricks. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm doing. I see the ingredients for a Wither.
Nothing has ever gone wrong with doing this.
Yeah, that didn't feel like 10 seconds. Oh, I wasn't even hitting W. I threw my sword!
Why would someone do this to me?
Not even sure how to approach this except with the explosion, but
No, that cow. No! Right before our eyes. I think I died already. Did I already die?
If you show this to the community, I will get roasted.
Wait. I can eat a chicken.
when we introduced potions, we made eating a lot worse.
Oh, what's the worst that could? Oh my goodness.
Is it?
The sheep you wanted to save.
Oh no!
But if you're lucky, there's enough sheep around to distract it.
The sheep. Take the sheep, don't take me.
What I... Oh!
Minecraft.
Genuinely have no recollection of doing this.
What were you filming?
I shouldn't ever be breaking anything.
Acquisition time was confusing and like uncertain.